is causing controversy with yet another tweet. Earlier this week, he tweeted, quote, "The United States must greatly strengthen and expand its nuclear capability until such time as the world comes to its senses regarding nukes." That tweet came just hours after Russian President Vladimir Putin said that strengthening his country's nuclear presence is also a top priority for 2017. So, is he being trigger happy, or is it something that needs to happen? That's our topic this half hour, and we want to hear from you, of course, on Facebook and Twitter. Right now, joining us live from the newsroom is Fox 26 senior legal analyst Chris Tritico, Democratic media consultant Mustafa Tamiz, and Republican Harris County District Clerk Chris Daniels. So a lot of people are upset about the fact that he's also just tweeting all of this information out.
Well, that's been an ongoing controversy, I guess, with respect to the media anyway, that he doesn't talk to the media, he just tweets. And that's probably appears to be going to be the issue throughout his presidency, that we'll get information through a tweet. The issue with respect to this tweet is the apparent shift in U.S. policy, that instead of trying to de-nuclear the world, he wants to escalate an arms race with the I almost said the Soviet Union, or with Russia, and start an arms race that we've been trying to stop for the last 40 years. Chris Daniel, it's rather dangerous to throw out statements like that. Our partners in NATO are even upset that you would even suggest that we need to start building nuclear weapons when, since John Kennedy, we've been trying to de-escalate.
I'm a big fan of the START programs and the focus on trying to reduce nuclear arms. What you see happening here is a response to a dictator. You see Vladimir Putin making his irresponsible remarks, and it is a way to refocus the efforts on national security. So the overarching theme should be national security, not the fact that he tweeted out about increasing nuclear arms. You could make an argument that say that some of our arms are outdated and need to be upgraded. You could make an argument that if he's going to say he's going to increase his capacity to create a world destruction, then we ought to be able to respond in kind, much like Ronald Reagan did in the escalation with Gorbachev. But at the end of the day, the overarching theme is a refocusing on national security, because a weakened national security over the last 8 years has allowed these kinds of countries to be bold and make these kinds of statements.
Is that what he did?
During the campaign, it was said that his supporters took him seriously but not literally, and people that didn't support him took him literally but not seriously. So now we don't know whether world leaders, people that control nuclear weapons of their own, should take him literally or they should take him seriously. This is the dilemma that the entire world faces, that no one knows what Donald Trump wants or thinks. So when you're the most powerful man, when you're the leader of the free world, you're an erratic truck driver in the middle of the night tweeting out things randomly, and this puts the world in an unsafe and unsecure environment. And this is dangerous, and we hope that he would get better at this.
If the only way you're going to communicate with the world is through Twitter, doesn't Donald Trump have a responsibility to ensure that his tweets are responsible?
That's assuming that is the only way he's communicating with the world.
Wasn't that the only way he's doing it?
He is communicating also through his advisors and through his picks of the various cabinet members. And as you can see through these valuable picks that he's made, that you'll see a calming of some of these international crises created by social media as we move forward. And it'll become clear and more transparent what that path is based on what these cabinet makers are making.
I want you to respond to that when we come back. Let me go to Rashi. She's monitoring our social media.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that are talking about this, a hot topic. And to your point, Chris Tritico, one person writes, "Dear Donald Trump, you're new to this, so here's a list of things to tweet about instead of nuclear weapons," because people are tired of that. And here's another one also, Kenny Rocket 981 saying, "Trump wants to expand our nuclear arsenal. I think of my aunt and baby cousin found burnt in a ditch on Hiroshima. These weapons must go." And one last one, LOLNO, Trump's threat of arms race would reverse decades of efforts to reduce nuclear arsenals.
And those tweets, I think, point out exactly the point I'm trying to make, is that he has if he's going to talk to the world, I can't speak. If he's going to talk to the world through Twitter, he has a responsibility to be responsible about it. Now, Chris said that his picks for his cabinet should calm the world. Are these cabinet picks calming the world?
Not really. I mean, his national security advisor is almost as erratic as he is. But aside from that, his campaign, there's also a cycle that's building now. His advisors go out and say, after he's got this kind of a tweet saying, that's not what he meant something else. And then the next day he calls in a news outlet and doubles down what he says on his Twitter.
They don't know what they're talking about. That's what I meant.
This is a real problem. Donald Trump never backs down. He always doubles down what he says. And when it comes to nuclear weapons, and you're the most powerful man, and you're the leader of the free world, and you have the biggest nuclear arsenal, and you start tweeting about nuclear weapons, it's a problem. And we hope that when after January 20th, that we see him somewhat constrained.
And let me highlight that. We got less than a minute, but let me highlight what he just said. Last week, Corey Lewandowski came out and said, Donald Trump is through saying drain the swamp. And Donald Trump came out less than 24 hours later and said, Corey doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm still draining the swamp. And so you've got his inside people coming out and saying, here's the message, and Donald Trump undermines them and undercuts it. So where's the message coming from? Who listen to?
The buck ultimately stops with Donald, but at the same time, what you have to look at is his ability to strategize for the big picture. If you have a dictator that's going to wave a stick, you have to be able to respond in kind. Otherwise, you are ceding the table to that dictator.
All right, we got to leave it right there. We'll be back in about 20 minutes with our National Person of the Year.
All right. Well.